Hello and welcome. We are here tonight for our creator spotlight with two creators and game masters and players and all the good things. And so I think we're going to have a good time tonight. I'm going to let them do their introductions, but we've got Jonny from TalkingXP and Jordan from Goosepoop Games. That's just fun to say every time. And tonight we're gonna just talk about all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna ask some questions. We've got questions you want to drop in the chat, absolutely, and let's pick their brain a little bit. We've gone all the way from designing games, new games coming out, all sorts of stuff going on. So I'm gonna throw it to Jonny and have him start us out first by telling us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Cool. I'm Jonny. I run TalkingXP. It's at TalkingXP pretty much everywhere. I have a Twitch channel where I run Ravenloft Misfits on, as well as a YouTube channel where all of the VODs are and all of that stuff. I also have a whole Candela How to Play series on my YouTube playlist channel thing if you want to learn how to play and then also watch me run it as well. Yeah, all that is on YouTube, and I'm also on Threads. Find me on Threads. That's where I spend most of my time. Yeah, that's me.
Cool. I'm gonna have Jordan go, and then we'll kind of dive into both of those because you've got a whole bunch of cool stuff going on too. And so I want to kind of give everybody the lay of the land, and then we'll throw it around.
Yeah, so I'm Jordan. I run Goosepoop Games, so I make card games, so little RPGs. I have these fun little card game, pocket games, and then I got Good Soup, and then I would love it if you noticed. This is a little solo journaling game. This is you play as little woodland creatures, gather ingredients to make soup. You can find me Goosepoop207 everywhere. Or goosepoopgames.com. Check out all the cool games.
Yeah, and I just participated in a Good Soup adventure, which was an absolute blast on a Roll D5. It's it's a little bit mania, the one that I was in.
It
It's a
gets
lot
crazy.
of it.
It's silly.
Yeah, so it's absurd, really, is what it is. And Jonny, you didn't even talk about, or maybe you did and I missed it because I've been going crazy all day today. So I'm just gonna apologize in advance for whatever my brain does during this session, because it's been crazy. But yeah, you've so I hear, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I hear that there is a mission for you to be noticed for maybe some Candela stuff that you've got out and coming. And
yeah. So I wrote in conjunction with, or in partner with MargoMods, who was actually just recently on your show. We wrote a one shot for Candela called The Bleeding Edge, which was previously called the Eternal One. It's about the Eternal One, which is actually a entity that is in Candela lore. If you read the book, you find little bits and pieces about Ezra Ashford, who used to be a light keeper for Candela, and then they just kind of fell down into working with eons and then trying to summon this Eternal One to save themselves from war. This thing promised that it would stop all wars, and the whole thing behind it is that Ezra's daughter had died during the war as a soldier, and so that leads them to want to end wars even more. And so the first attempt that they had with that didn't work. And now this is the second attempt, which is where the book ends with. There's this giant page of like sigils and ancient Halen that you get to like translate into, common English and stuff like that. You translate it and it says, we're going to try it again tomorrow. And that's where it ends. And so that's where we pick up. We pick up with the whole thing just saying, this is what happens. The Candela circle that you're playing with doesn't know what's going on at first. They know that one of the Candela members that they know of was kidnapped. They go and save them. This person is in the previous circle with Ezra and just basically tells the circle everything. And so when you run it, it's just like you're finding more and more terrible things to hopefully solve. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I love about Candela in general. Is that there's always oh, I thought that was somebody else popping in there as you saying, "Hey, y'all." I was gonna give you the
Tried to wait
question.
the 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always seems to be a little bit of mystery, which is a big MargoMods. Andy from MargoMods is very big into the mystery side of it too.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you, I got very excited when I saw that the two of you were partnering up to do some stuff. I've experienced their Kickstarter in there, and it's incredible, like the writing and all that stuff.
Insane.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's really
so
insane.
complex and detailed.
Complex.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
the
cool.
word I keep using is complex, because it's, and then you a lot of times you don't find out about, like, you don't realize how complex it is until you get a little bit deeper into it, and then you find this other piece to it, and you're like, holy smokes. And I've played in games that you've GM'd, so I'm familiar with your storytelling style too, which is also pretty intricate. And so
I try to make it
I was
as
pretty excited.
Interesting as possible.
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask, going into this, because this is your first time, right, writing something that you put out like that?
So, first time publishing for sure. I mean, I've written, my own stuff, but yeah, this was the first time that I've actually published, one of my ideas that I came up, because one of the things with, like, the story evolved as Andy and I worked together through the whole, writing process of rewriting and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting and all that. But basically I had this idea of picking up there and then writing what happens next. And I have never done the publishing stuff. I've never written, I've never, created anything that looks good enough to publish. So I approached Andy. I actually sent them a message on Discord, and I was like, hey, you've done stuff before. You want to work together? And then they were like, absolutely, let's do this. And it worked out, because the one shot itself, it's on DriveThruRPG. It's called The Bleeding Edge. It's so good. Like, the way that everything is set up, it looks really nice. And on, like, the very first page, there's one of those, like, in the Candela book, you see the like the little pieces of paper that are where the notes are left and all of that stuff. On the first page, we have something that looks pretty similar to that, almost exactly. I actually made an Ancient Halen font. I drew it all out and I put it on, and then I downloaded the font. And so I wrote an entire letter of, like, clues that you can use this other thing that I have, this, like, pocket watch that has, like, all of the stuff on it. You basically get to learn how to translate it and all that stuff through that. And then it tells you where they're going and information and stuff like that. So
That's phenomenal.
It was just like this whole really cool experience to be working with Andy and just bouncing ideas off of each other and then just creating such a wonderful story together.
Yeah, absolutely, that collaborative aspect. We're going to come back to that. I want to switch over to Jordan, because Jordan's doing the opposite of that right now. And pretty much I was actually surprised at all of the things that Jordan is doing. We were talking about this the other day. Tell us a little bit about your process, and, like, Good Soup start to finish is, soup to nuts. You're doing it all, right?
Yeah. So the Good Soup is it's kind of meant for, like, it's a GM-less game, and so it's really meant to just, like, there's no prep or anything. You just toss it on the table and start playing. And I tried to make it super accessible for people who like wanted to do an RPG but kind of get dissuaded by, like, oh my god, here's a giant book and I have to read this book, kind of thing. It's like, no, the game it's right here, and that's it. Just roll it. Just roll like a couple d12s. Usually, I tell people, like, just use your phone. Just Google roll a d12. um,
I
because
love that though. You're like you're getting people in that don't have any idea about
right.
role play games, and I think that's amazing because that seems to be such a big hurdle for people. Like they don't know,
Yeah.
and I was kind of like that before I really started kind of diving into it because it was like, oh, this is too much. It's all of this stuff, and so it's really not. No matter what game you play, it's really not. You can just kind of jump in, but I love that you're making it so chill with them.
Yeah. Yeah. The kind of like what I've learned is just kind of remove terms from things. So, like on the front cover of Good Soup, it says a wholesome story game, not a role playing game. I mean, on the back it says role playing game, but like,
Yeah.
when you first see it, or like, what was really funny was I would love it if you noticed, and then I had a fun game launch party, but it was a yoga event. And all the people going to doing the yoga, they're like, "What's an RPG?"
Yeah.
And so I just turned it into solo mindfulness game. So it's
Yeah.
just a journaling game. Yeah. So
Well, and it's funny that you say that too, because so I'm in holistic wellness and everything, and I Reiki certified and Key certified and all that kind of stuff. And so I work with people all the time who are, yoga, all of that stuff, like, sound healing, everything else. I work with those people who have no idea, what RPG is. And I talk about it and they're all like, I don't know what you're doing. And I haven't run a game for them yet, but I have to. I already know that I can't tell them what I'm doing when I do it. Like I have to, ninja this game session in order for them to do it because they don't have any idea what it is, and so they're like, no, I don't want it. And it's kind of funny because I did a retreat with them recently, and one of the people came in and they were like, okay, we have to play game right away. And they did this whole game thing and everything else. And there was parts of RPG stuff that were in it. And I didn't say a word like, well, it was happening. But I'm like, I'm just clocking it away for later because I'm like, these are people that they want to do this. They're already doing it, So it's an interesting dynamic. But it is, depending on what style that you're doing, you're hitting on different types of mental health. And Jonny was on the Bring Joy Forward podcast, and we talked about that and collaborative gaming and how it can be a huge benefit. I mean, for me, it's a huge benefit for just bringing joy into my life, but also for the escapism aspect of it. I want to talk a little bit about Good Soup because it's very easy to just jump into it. And that was my first GM-less game. And I had no idea what to expect when I was going into it. And I thought, this is going to be madness. How are we going to do this? There is nobody who's going to because, I mean, I know how I am when I play. I don't like there's going to be other people who's going to have to who's going to keep us in line, and it forced us to be super collaborative with each other, even more so. I'm lucky enough that I pretty much play with people who are very collaborative in general anyway. Everybody's very aware of the table. But this kind of forced us into a different level of it. And I enjoyed it so much, even just playing the other characters jumping in, because there's no GM, so somebody else has to play. I think during the lab, trying to remember, I have a hard time remembering the games after I play them, but there was a kickoff where I jumped in as a fairy in the last one, and it was, but the timing of it afterwards, I was like, oh, that was so fun and so cool, because it was like I just jumped in as if I already knew that the next line was mine, but we all were doing that like throughout the whole night, back and forth. And I just thought that was really cool because it just makes you like aware of what everybody else is doing, and then also making sure that they get like that extra playtime, I guess, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where good soup kind of shines, is that way of like, I call it the impersonating, like you're playing as like the story or like the characters in the world. And I think that separation like allows the characters, like the players themselves, they don't feel like stuck in a character. They're like, oh, and then this happens, and then oh, I'm doing this. And yeah, it kind of engages that it encourages everybody to like kind of focus on what's happening, because it's like, oh, you're gonna get past next, so like better be ready, kind of thing.
Yeah, you got to
um
be ready. You know,
yeah.
like, yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
The ingredients are kind of wild.
Yeah. I mean, it's all kind of wild. When I actually, the way your crew played it
Oh yeah, we played it
was,
wrong.
we played it wrong, but I didn't say anything. I never say anything when I watch people play.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
had
just like,
one job
no, it
and we
was,
failed to
well,
play test this
instead of
game, and
only
we did it
making
wrong.
one soup, each person made a soup. So I'm like, that's a lot of soup.
See, but the thing is that what you set out to do was to play a game and have fun,
Exactly.
and you did. So you didn't fail. You
Exactly.
succeeded. And that brings up another good point, is that like rules are just there for guidance. It's not there to follow to the dot, which
Yep.
I think is one of the greatest things about having these kinds of games, is like, if it doesn't serve you in the way that it was written, fucking get rid of it. Who cares? Just play
Yeah.
whatever you want to play. That's what the point is. Yeah.
Or develop a
love it.
whole language and invent clues, you know? I mean,
Right. Right. Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. And
Part of my super, like, what I really enjoy, and I kind of tossed it into good soup, is like just seeing how people interpret things. And so
Mhm.
like, I put things in the book that I don't know what it is. So it's like I put in like computer juice as one of the ingredients. I couldn't tell, but
yeah,
your
go
team
give us a little bit of
answered
the
it. It's
list.
like, yeah, you juice the computer. That's where you get the juice from. Or like,
Duh.
one of my favorites is Summer Troll. It's like, I don't know what that is. Like, are they on vacation, or do they live in the desert? I don't know, but that's what
It's
I.
Summer Troll.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's yeah, it's just kind of like putting in little crumbs of like ideas and thought. It's like, oh, but what if this happened? And then that's it. And then I just step back and then let you all play it. But I like kind
Gra-
of wrote a blog on this on the TTRPG Collective that I'm gonna
Mm.
edit, and it's gonna come out. But
I feel that. I feel that.
I'm gonna do it. But yeah, it was like, it talks all about like that kind of like, it it's not like I'm asking you like, oh, here's the map, do whatever, or something, or just like, your creatures, okay, go have fun. It's like, well, there's a little bit of like, I lessened the mental strain of trying to come up with things by like giving you a little table of like, okay, you, so like the how the table works, for those
Yeah, give us
who
a
haven't
visual
seen
aid.
it.
Go ahead, hold it up
Yeah,
for us.
I don't know if it's gonna come through. Well, so like, you roll. The reason why I had D12 is so you have more options. So, but so you roll, and then the number you choose, you just choose one of three. So like, instead of like all the options in
Cool.
the world, you got three of them,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah, it gets rid of that analysis
you'll
paralysis that happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then while you're reading across, your brain will start to kind of think of scenarios, and then the one that's like the most vivid in your mind is usually the one you'll like come up with, or the
Hmm.
silliest one. I found Hot Goose appears in 100% of games that I've watched.
It's a good one.
It's like one of those, like, if you roll a 2, you're gonna
Johnny,
have a
roll a
hot boost in
D12.
your game.
I got one like nearby.
I knew you did. I was
6.
6. All right, we got android, vampire, or wooden puppet.
Android. We're gonna put some computer juice in there. Let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah.
It's incredible.
And it's great because
cool.
there's multiple of these little, you know, the grids, because you're not just making soup, you're making soup for somebody who has a problem that you need to solve, you know, and so you're rolling, and you can roll for what creature you want to be too. Of course, I did not. I picked, but you can, you can do that.
As long as it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I did like how it kind of walked you through a little bit and gave you some guidance, you know, on what you're gonna do. But then it also was very open ended as you were playing, and you could, you know, just kind of flow with what was with that whatever madness was coming up, basically, as it was going. So let's switch over back to Johnny for a little bit. So you've got the Candela that you just did, but you're also staying very much, and I know they just released a new one, but you're staying very much up on everything that Darrington Press is doing, basically. So we've got some new Daggerheart stuff out. And you know, so that's more videos coming, I'm sure. But tell us what you know, what can people do to? I want to play Daggerheart. I don't know how to do it. You've already started that process, right?
Yeah. So with the new one that just came out, they'd made some minor changes to like the rules, and then most of the changes that happen, because it started with 1.2, it went to 1.3 last month, and then this month it's now 1.4 that just came out today, May 7th. And so what I did to begin with is I did 1.2. I ran their quick start adventure. And so I brought that out just so that it's like, hey, this is how it's ran. This is the story. Take it or leave it, whatever. But then they came up with, you know, they did a lot of changes in 1.3, too many to count. And then the usual like ability changes and things like that. So I made posts about, you know, these are the changes. Here you go. You don't have to like read through everything. This is basically what happened. And then just recently they did, like I said, today, 1.4, which didn't have many overall changes. Again, I made a post for it. It's on my threads. And then I did a TikTok video, which can't remember if I released. Editing is so long. So, and then I'm going to be making a 1.4 update on top of it. So I'll have videos there within the next, I'm guessing, probably week. I have a lot going on this week, but I'll figure it out. But yeah, that, and then I also have a video in which I actually play Daggerheart, and we use the 1.3 rules, and then I'm gonna have that published here soon, and then we're gonna be doing another game here soon in like the first week of June, where obviously now we're gonna be using the 1.4 rules and all that stuff. So, and during those games, we talk about the rules and stuff like that. It's a really fun game. It definitely changes a lot from, you know, because this is, they don't say it, but it is their competition with D&D and Wizards of the Coast because of the whole OGL scare and all of that stuff. They're creating something for themselves that they can use for their stuff, so they don't have to answer to anybody. And that's great. I think one of the best things that happened to the TTRPG community was the OGL debacle, because now there's a bunch of TTRPGs out there that everybody can play and learn about and read through. So I mean, that's like the whole thing behind RD5 is playing indie TTRPGs in general. So, stuff like that was just created and it's been great. But yeah, this is their competition with D&D, and they have like really cool cards with for your ancestry, which is basically just your race in D&D. They have all of the usual ones like Dracona for Dragonborn, and then Damon for tieflings, and Galapagos for portals and all that stuff. They have all of that is constantly changing because it's still in beta. Um, but they're on cards, which is pretty cool. So you can keep track of all your information through that. And they have your classes and some classes and abilities through that. And you can pick between two different domains, and it's really fun. And I love the duality die too, which is just a 2d12 system. So you have a hope and a fear die, and whichever one is higher, certain things happen. If you succeed with hope, it's the best thing that you can get. If you fail with fear, it is the worst thing you can get, and everything in between. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
What has been your favorite part?
Favorite part? I really like how easy it is to create a character, and then as the GM, which thankfully in 1.4 they created a GM cheat sheet, which they needed. They needed that really badly.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they finally made that. So it makes it even easier for the GM to know the rules right off the bat, and like what you can do with fear points, because when a character rolls with fear, regardless of if it's a success or if it's a fail, the GM gains a fear point, which they can use to do certain things, like a fear ability for one of the adversaries that they might be battling, or creating tokens that they can use in the combat, which is a completely new an interesting way to run combat, where the players start or they don't, but based on what happens, each time a player does something, an action token gets placed on an action tracker, and then once they either fail or roll with fear, it switches over to the GM, who then can use those action tokens that have been placed down for actions of the enemy. They can also use fear points to then create more actions that they can just overwhelm the players with, or other things that they can do, like the fear moves. And there's environmental fear moves that you can do. So something that, like, if they're next to a volcano, maybe the volcano erupts and starts bringing lava down the side of it, or whatever that ends up being, right?
Yeah.
I think that that is like one of my favorite things, is just how easy it is to create a character. And Demiplane has a fantastic character creator that keeps track of everything. Super nice. And they're up to date every time that everything changes. So it's a perfect place. And I don't know if they automatically update your characters. I would think that they do, but I'm not entirely sure. I can't like completely confirm that. But if they don't, they have all the information, and then you can just remake a character in like less than 5 minutes, regardless of your level. Like, it's super easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with the ease. I think in general, to me it seems like they were really trying to take their expertise of what they do on Critical Role in terms of like the balance, how they play, what they do to move the story along, like all of those little pieces. It really felt to me like they took all of that and broke it down into very, manageable, bite-sized little chunks, and said, okay, here, let me guide you through this process. And it makes it so that if you are completely new to gaming at all, you can jump in, and kind of get your feet wet, so to speak. But also, if you are very comfortable in the TTRPG space, it still has so much to work with. I thought that was a nice mix. I think that, that they did a really nice job of kind of, bringing that together. And I know they want us to break the system, and, we're all kind of doing that to a certain extent. But I really thought it was a great base coming out. Like obviously it's just only getting better every time, but it's just
absolutely.
So the purpose of what you want to do with Talking XP, your and I'm gonna give you what I think it is, and you tell me.
Sure.
You tell me what we want to mod that to be. I look to your channel, wherever you are, whether it's on YouTube or Threads or TikTok or whatever. I'm like, something's coming out in the gaming world, especially if it's something that Darrington Press put out in the Critical Role world. You're the first person that I go to for that information. And then also in terms of highlighting and really guiding people through a story that is not necessarily a canned story. You're tweaking it. You're adding your take to it. You're bringing all your, so for me, you're a storyteller and an educator. That's what I get about what you're doing.
Yep. That's pretty much what I want to do. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I create How to Play Candela specifically. Like, I did that when they had the quick start guide and not very many people read. So I just made videos on that. And a lot of what I said in those videos, I've just kept because they're still true. And then I just updated the how to create a character video that is still up there and super, super easy. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from the video series that I've had. I do want to at some point go back and add a lot more detail in like the lore and stuff like that, but I just have been so busy with everything.
You got a lot going on.
I got so much going on. I showed because we just added Boss Jellybean Janelle into our Andy and my creating
awesome
publishing.
That's a powerhouse right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're already pretty much at the end of our first one shot that we want to publish. It's great. We just have to do the actual writing, which is the easier part. But we posted our schedules, and I was like, yeah, here's mine. And they're like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, listen, June is completely different. Like, I am working on making sure that I can say no to things and give myself some time to do stuff.
Yeah,
but
self-care.
Yes, I do want to come back. Yeah, very much so. I do want to go back to Candela. I do want to add some more lore to everything so that everybody can have like the background and even more of the factions that were released with the book, like the Red Hand and the Unabridged. Those are really interesting factions that I don't have a video about just yet. And then, eventually whenever Daggerheart gets released, I'll absolutely be doing a series on that. I fell into the whole Darrington Press side of things because of the fact that I was such a fan of Critical Role that like I was interested in Candela immediately because I love horror stuff. I run Curse of Strahd, so obviously. So that was really cool. And with having that quick start guide, it really lowered the bar of, I didn't have to buy anything. It was already available, and here we are. Let's just go do it. And then also, Daggerheart. It's open beta right now. It's free. So I was able to just pick it up. I mean, and then Darrington Press sent me a copy of Daggerheart cards and all that stuff at the very beginning of all of this, which was absolutely insane. I got it so it came to my house during my stream of the Quick Start Adventure, which was absolutely wild. I just like walked outside, it's there, and then I brought out the cards. It was so cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then also like a Candela book. So I've been able to really dive into it with, the lowest bar of money so that I can put all of my time into it without having to really like worry about the monetary costs of things. So it's been very nice. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're gonna come back. I want to talk about the YouTube and the all the struggles that you have to go through to get to a certain rank and all that kind of stuff. We're
Sure.
gonna come back to that though. So I want to jump over to Jordan. So I mentioned before that you're kind of the one stop shop, but I don't think people really realize like what goes into so you created this this thing started in your head. It didn't exist, right? And so you came up with this game, and then you had to test it out, and you had to make sure it was working and everything else, right? And then you had to, but you do the artwork on it. You did the layout work on it, and do you have it? I'm gonna put you on the spot here, but do you have like one of those half-made books on your table right now, like you did the other day?
Oh yeah, I still have. I have all
Yeah,
the. I
like
make all the books.
like he's even making the books and
That
stapling
is
stuff, you guys. Like
wild.
these are so
Yeah.
this is like handmade from Maine goodness that you're getting. So
That's
when
good.
he says good
Yeah.
soup, he's literally making the soup every single time.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, just I've always kind of been like a generalist on things, so it's been just one of those things where I just slowly learn a lot of stuff. It's also one of those things where it's like, hey, does somebody want to work on a project? Look around, no one's around. All right, I guess I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your favorite part about making them? What keeps you going?
Oh, um, hmm, that's good. I love
It's good
the
soup.
idea. Yeah, it's good soup. I love the idea creation of it. So like just the it's kind of the writing, but it's like I'm working on expansions for it right now, so it's gonna be more adventures, and it kind of just changes the items table and then adds a mechanic to it. Um,
Are we still making soup?
they, sometimes there's
Sneak
gonna
peek, you
be
guys.
yeah.
What's
Sometimes
coming?
I'm gonna add. So there's one that's coming out, and it's for like the TTRPG collective has a jam that's a Hot Mutant Summer Jam. So it's gonna be Goop Soup. So it's still making soup, but it's
That's
it's all
fantastic.
just like really icky. And then there's a mechanic in it where if you get like too many successes, you start growing appendages that like wear you down, or just grow. You start
Amazing.
mutating.
Oh, you know that
So
Johnny wants to
good.
play that on a stream.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, yeah.
yeah. So I like
That's
that. I
fantastic.
like the idea creation. The art stuff is it's seriously just like I doodle in my notebook. I take a picture of it and then I retrace it online.
I mean, you drew it.
Like
You can trace your own stuff. That's how it works.
yeah,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all my art stuff is made in Figma, so it's all vector based. So
Mm.
it's like the free Adobe Illustrator kind of thing. Because we like free and not Adobe.
Yeah.
Unless Adobe wants to sponsor us, and then we love
Unless
them.
Adobe wants to sponsor me and then pay for all the products. But no.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I do. Like I do all the art, even for the cards and stuff. My card games, I do like all the art. There's this one's
Yeah. Tell
Big
us about those.
Stretch.
You haven't talked about the card games
Yeah,
much.
yeah. So I have Big Stretch here. Um, and this one is just a very light push your luck game, and you're just flipping over cards, and the cat's arm gets really long in
That
that.
is freaking fantastic.
So the
So
cards
funny.
get
I love that.
you're trying to get later and later times on the clock, but if you get them out of order, you lose. You have to discard the cards and stuff.
Wow, that's a lot of fun. That's cool.
Yeah. And then I have Choosy Goosey, and you're trying to get sets of goose clothing, and so the more clothing you get, the longer the neck goes.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's so
So
good.
Everything
yeah,
is
that would.
so wholesome until you put it in our hands, and then we absolutely
Yeah.
And you
demolish
go
it.
wild.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
not wholesome at all, but it was a blast. Keep
Yeah.
going. What
So I
else you
think.
got over there?
Oh, yeah, and so I have those two card games. I am kind of dipping into the indie publishing side, so I have a friend that is making like he has kind of like a card game, but it's like his art on it, and then what? So it's like the theme is artist versus a poet, and you're trying to get um, cards flipped over, certain number of cards flipped over. One side has art that he made, and the other side's poetry. And so that's kind of cool. We're working on that. And then I have another person where we're working on kind of a horror game. So not silly, but I also really love horror stuff. So I'm like,
Ooh.
I kind of want. It's not really goose poop light and silly stuff, but I want to make it. I want it to be. I want it to be made. Yeah. Um, but what's really
Goose
great,
poop
I
goes
mean,
dark.
yeah. Uh, what I really like about it and what I kind of try to focus on with my company is very like local. There's a very like local focus that I have where it's like I sell to a lot of markets. I try to just distribute to all the stuff, all the like coffee shops and places in Portland. I'm in Maine, Portland, Maine. Um, and so like the horror game's gonna be on one of the islands in Maine and stuff. And instead of art that like I draw and stuff, we're gonna take actual photos of things.
Oh, that's gonna be
And
Interesting.
fun.
That's cool. Yeah.
yeah. So like and it's a horror RPG, but it like kind of is it's got stuff, so it's kind of board gamey. And it only plays for 45 minutes, so it's like a quick game. And it just plays kind of like a slasher flick where you're just trying to
Cool.
hide or run away from something. We're gonna have like a map of like the island, and you go around, and yeah, the photos are gonna be like one example is like the stuff that you carry is just like we're gonna like throw stuff on the ground like it's in your pocket, and then take a photo of that, and then so
Oh,
it's
fun.
so the whole like theme and storyline comes through context of like the
Mm-hmm.
items and like the location and stuff. So I think that's kind of cool. Whereas
Yeah.
instead of like writing a whole bunch of like this is the story of blah blah blah, it's like oh here's the items and stuff. So
Gory goose poop.
yeah, goose poop. Yeah. But yeah, that's so. And then but I am still making silly games. I'm working
Of
on
course.
Of course.
another card game, uh, called Pick a Pickle, and it's a memory game, and you have like a grid, and you're flipping over different pickle cards and trying to gather sets of pickles.
So
Um,
good.
yeah.
I
That's
love this.
But
fantastic.
the goal with Good Soup is to kind of make more adventures and then have like kind of a cookbook slash RPG, like physical, like printed book, very
That'd be
fancy.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like of all the soups that were created, that's so good.
yeah. Well, actual edible soups too. And
Yeah, I was just gonna
yeah,
say
I
you
mean,
actually have recipes in there.
yeah, I have a recipe in the back, so you can
Oh,
make a soup. So the fun thing about Good Soup, which I don't see many people play, but you can instead of dice use soup for action rolls. Um, so all the action rolls are ambiguous for a reason, because it's like yeah, it could happen, maybe or may not happen, probably not going to happen. And it's all determined by you take a spoonful of soup and how many pieces you have in your spoon is kind of like, yeah, I have a lot of pieces.
Just don't play
But I
with tomato
did.
soup.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was
Right.
like, spices also count, and you could also add like stuff in your soup. It just has to get in your spoon if you.
You can
If
do
you know.
alphabet soup.
So funny though. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's quite silly. And then the other game that you have is I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but
Oh,
you
I
said it
would
at the
love it
beginning.
if you noticed.
I would love it. Yeah, ironically, I'm forgetting the name of it. I
Yeah,
would love it if
you
you
didn't
noticed. I
notice, I
knew it.
guess.
Yeah, because in my head, every time you say it, I'm like, I would love it if you noticed good soup. You know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah.
flows. So
Uh,
what is I would love it if you noticed?
so it's kind of a solo journaling game. Kind
It's
of.
kind
It,
of,
it
or it
is.
just is.
It is. It's not kind of. It is. Um, it's a solo journaling game where um, every day you roll the die, you roll a d6, and the d6 kind of tells you what you noticed that day, what you should focus on. So, like something I saw, or something I felt emotionally, something I felt physically, something I heard, something I thought, or something I said. And so you write that down. And then over the course of 2 weeks, you're taking what you noticed and kind of creating attributes for a character. Um, so like the example I always use is like, oh, I noticed I felt angry today, and then I rolled, oh, what's a food my character likes? Oh, they like spicy tacos, something like that, because I was angry.
Hmm.
And then so over 2 weeks, you have this character. It's kind of rough and loose. And then I give you kind of obstacles that you can kind of tackle, like have you're basically having your character tackle these obstacles, but I phrase it in the way of like your own problems. So like obstacles is like something you fear, so your character kind of tackles something you fear. So the whole goal is kind of like the secret goal of the book is to
Super
like
cool.
improve. Yeah, I don't say it, but it's like the goal is to like improve people's self-awareness on things, and then it kind of is a way to like observe your life through an outsider's perspective. So it's like kind of, and I'm trying to get the player to like notice how they affect the world around them, as well as notice what's happening around them.
Yeah. I
That's
really
cool.
like too that it redirects in there too, because it's, they're having an emotion, and then it's telling them, okay, you're eating this food or whatever, this is your favorite food or whatever. It kind of gets them down this whole thought pattern to this food, and it can actually take them out of this, feeling that they have, because it starts them down another thought process essentially. It's a nice redirect. It's really cool. So we're talking about, um, kind of the life stuff and what it is that that you're wanting to do and redirect. But you both got into this because you wanted to play and just have some fun and, you know, be a kid.
Yep.
What is your favorite part of doing all of this?
Meeting people, really. That's what I've been doing for the past 6 months. Gosh, the long time. Ever since Gen Con. Like I wanted to go to Gen Con the year before in 2022. And I was just like, nah, I can't do that. I can't afford it, can't do anything. And
Yeah.
then last year I was almost not gonna go. I was like, it was like a month before or something like that I finally actually ended up planning going to Gen Con. And then I got a email when I was down in California at San Diego Comic-Con about being invited to a D&D party, like the whole creator meet and greet thing that I met Matt Mercer, and that's my profile picture thing,
Yeah.
which is just
which I love
absolutely
using as
wild to
promo.
me. Oh yeah, like absolutely insane that even happened. And so that, like, just being able to meet people that got me into this stuff in the first place, like wanting to stream and wanting to do all that, just all of that is absolutely insane. And it ever since Gen Con, I've met so many great people just by threads and by playing with them, and then through them other folks, and that by far is the best thing about all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, the community is absolutely phenomenal. I wasn't even doing
Incredible.
this at all until October of last year. And ironically, it was Jonny who got me into this because, yeah, I just, he posted something on Threads about playing a Candela game. And I also love Critical Role, and I'm super into Candela. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'll play. And he said, you want to do that on a stream?
That was my
and I was like, yeah, and that was your first Candela, which was ridiculous because it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
And I would have had no idea that was your first one, but that was it. I played that one game and I was like, oh, okay, this is what I do now.
Well, good. I'm glad that you couldn't tell because I was freaking out behind the screen.
No, you did absolutely phenomenal. And it's funny because it was a little bit of, the Matt Mercer effect, because now it was like, because it could be a little scary to like join in a game when you don't know anybody, right? And so, it was a little bit of I noticed myself doing it the first few times. Well, I hope they're as good as Jonny. Like, as it came in, I was like, and I love everyone. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, I've played in so many different streams now, and played just, in Discord or whatever, not on stream and everything else. And I can tell you, like, every single session that I have had, everyone has been great. We've had a great time. Like, I've just been blown away. I'm so grateful for the community. Like, I've been absolutely blown away. And I also am in the TTRPG collective, and I've met a ton of people in there, and I play a bunch in there as well. But like, it's not just gaming community, but I think like Threads kind of opened up a lot of stuff for me too, like the creative community in general. And I don't know, I've kind of like felt like, okay, I'm coming home now. Like, I don't know, It's very odd.
Straight up.
Yeah. So I don't know, and it's like a lot of the you talk about goals, and these are things I want to do and everything else. And it's so funny because like so much of it has like shifted, to include all of this. I'm going to Gen Con this year for the first time. Yeah. I'm stoked. And the thing, I'm like looking at all of the events that just came out and everything else, and I'm just like, when am I gonna have time to see people? I need to have time to see people. Like, it's so important.
Oh, I know. Yeah, so I'm actually going to be on Tabletop Tail Spinners Network, TTN. They're going to be doing a Delta Green game.
Oh, are you doing that with Juicy Girl?
I'm going to be in it. Yeah, sick. Juicy's going to be the one that's going to be running everything, and we're going to be in it. We only have like 90 minutes, so we got to get we're going to be getting to it real quick.
Oh yeah.
But we're going to be there, and I've pretty much like put it out in the universe that this is just going to be like a Threads get together for everybody that's at Gen Con. Like, everybody come, let's all just hang out, let's have some laughs, let's have some fun, and then at the end of it, we're all just going to hang out. And that's what I've pretty much like thrown into the universe, and I'm going to try and make happen, because I think it's opening day. I think it's Thursday that happens.
It's Thursday, yeah.
It's going to be great. Yeah. I'm super looking forward to it.
Yeah, all the crew at TTN is absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Adore them all. Yeah. And if the next episode of All Our Faults does not come out like right quick, I'm about to lose my mind. It's so good.
It's good. So good. It's great. They're all just great performers, and
oh yeah,
Winter is awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so good. So Jordan, we just got on a tangent. You didn't even get a chance to answer that question. Do you even remember the
yeah.
question?
Yeah, what do I like about it?
Yeah, about all the stuff that you're doing. Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's been just so amazing just as like someone making the games, just seeing people enjoying the things you make.
Yeah.
It's just like, at like Shannon when you were on the roll D5 and you were all playing, I just loved it the whole time. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is so good. Like, and then you were all like, this is crazy. I'm like, this is wonderful. I love everything.
Yeah.
Everything's so good. I love every bit of it. And it's been, and then going to, so I do markets, like Portland has a lot of markets and like farmers markets or whatever. So I'm just out there with the table and stuff out, and it's just so great to like see new people come up, and then I tell them about the games and their face like lights up. They're like, what, this is crazy. Like like there's some people when I tell them about Goosepoop, they're like, stop. Wait, then they just like pick it up and start looking through it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I wrote it, so it exists. It's there.
Yeah.
And then doing enough markets where I just see people come back and be like, love the game, so good. I'm just like, oh my
Awesome.
god, yeah.
That's amazing.
There was like this one moment where it was just this kid was like so adorable, just like his dad got him good soup, and he's like, thank you so much, Dad, and like hugged him and stuff. And then they came back like the next week and they're like, we played it and loved it. I'm like, oh my god, you guys are so wholesome.
That's amazing.
So amazing.
Yeah.
Do you sign the books for the little kids?
Oh, I should.
Oh, you gotta add that. You need to get yourself a
yeah.
fancy metallic pen, multiple colors.
Yeah.
Have the kids pick
Yeah.
the color and sign your autograph on there. They're gonna be like, oh.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's
And yes,
awesome,
I did actually message Jordan right after the stream because I was horrified that like I'm like, oh
so
no, because it's so cute. This, I mean, if you have to just go buy the book, because the game, the book, the game, the whole thing, just go buy it because it's so precious. Like when I tell you this is like, it's so precious, and you're flipping through the book and it's amazing. And it's so wholesome, right? And then you get a bunch of maniacs like us who get on stream and just go wild. It was
like,
not
yeah,
even.
we're adults.
Yeah, it was. I was like, this is the adult late night version of Goosepoop, right? Like whatever. But I was like, oh no, I hope like Jordan's gonna use this for promo. Like, how can you use this for promo or whatever? And so I was like, I had to check in afterwards, and he's like, no, I had a blast. Like that was just so fun. But it's.
Yeah.
That's the beauty
That's
of it,
awesome.
though, right? Like with, not just Goosepoop, but any single thing that you play, it's just going to go wherever it's going to go based on who's in the room, what you ate for breakfast that day.
Yep.
Like, right?
Once you bring that game to your table, it is your game.
Yes.
To do whatever is fun and for everyone. Whatever it means that everybody leaves that table with a smile or a lack thereof if it's horror, but
Right.
a smile on the inside because you love the horror parts. But like whatever is fun for everyone, that's all that matters. That's really what it boils down to. And that kind of stuff is like the best, because like I've been running Ravenloft Misfits for 2.5 years. August of this year will be 3, and I think we might finish around that time. I'm not entirely sure, but they're at level 13 right now. The regular game with Curse of Strahd ends at 10. I'm bringing it to 15 and just absolutely demolishing them if I can in Castle Ravenloft. It's going to be great. But the whole thing is that, like, I'm making this, one, because performance, but also I always wanted to do this so that people can see how I run it and then take bits and pieces. And I've had people adding me on threads saying, I really like this part of this part of this part. And then also people message me on Discord and saying, this is really cool. That is also equally one of the coolest parts about doing all of this in general, is just like seeing people actually taking the content that you make and running with it, and then coming back and be like, yo, that was awesome. And like out of nowhere too, out of nowhere. It's just, that it's like, oh, that's what I wanted.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's like that, you know, that little kid where you do something as a child and somebody sees it and goes, oh, that's really cool, or you did a great job, or whatever, and you're like, what? And you're like, oh, I feel like that's what it's like as a creative. Like whenever we put something out, I don't care if you're writing it, acting it, designing it, drawing it, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
If you are a creative individual and you are putting something out into the world and another human being said that made me happy, like there is nothing. Yeah, like that's it.
Mission accomplished.
Yes. That's it. Like I had somebody made some clips the other day of some stuff that I did, and also like in game they were, you know, I was doing a stream and they commented about like that I was just, this one particular voice that I did for this one particular character was like, just they lost it, like it was just doing it for them, and I was like oh my gosh, like, that's it, right? Like I'm just gonna live in this moment for the rest of the day. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like, it's that thing. It's that little, we never lose that, right? And I think when we do lose it, it's because that's where that's where we get in the you know, the grit and the guck and everything else, is when we don't let that other stuff fester and bubble and you know, and come out and, you know, be silly and do the things. And I think that's why I just adore Jordan's stuff so much, because it's like, it really just encourages you. I mean, seriously, just go buy the book. It's so freaking cute. It just encourages you to embrace all of that, right? And just do it. Just grab your book and go to one of the things and read like the first 4 ingredient things on the list. Just do the. I know you got one right there. Yeah, no, that's your cue. Yeah, just read the first 4 ingredients in one of your lists.
All right, so you know, in like typical soup, you get your you have oregano, sriracha,
oregano.
Oregano, yeah.
Yeah, we changed this. Yeah, we changed.
And
nothing was what it.
They pronounced nothing correctly.
Nothing was correctly, which is my new favorite thing in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
And On was on that stream. It was
so good.
On is so much fun to play with.
Yes.
Fairy dandruff, artisanal cheese.
Fairy dandruff.
Artisanal cheese, yeah, which is a thing, but you know.
No, it says artisan cheese, but yeah, everybody just.
I was calling it artisanal cheese. Yeah.
I played one. Well, I sat in a game with like Jay. And they like called it artisanal or something like that.
Yeah.
It was good.
It's
so
great.
Fun. Yeah.
He can't even get through his list right now and share everything in a list because he's enjoying his own creation, and I freaking love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So good.
It's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff coming out. So, Jordan, you are doing a new series that is coming out.
I am. Yep. We're going to do it on this channel, and we're going to talk about game design and making games and the whole nitty-gritty process of it.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So deceivingly so.
Yeah, we had a meeting about it the other day, and it was just like, whoa, I think we have to do general passes and then get in, because like, oh, there's so much to it.
Yeah.
And like if you have been through the entire process and then you step back, you're like, oh my god, there was so many things that I did.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the meeting he's talking about, is when we discovered exactly how much of the process Jordan does, because he was like literally like, I'm stapling a book right now. I have it right here. Yeah, that's dedication. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
And
wild.
Jonny, you have a ton of things happening right now. Do you want to run through that a little bit of that list?
All right, yeah, let's do it. I'm looking at my paper calendar that I have to keep now because I cannot only do it on my phone.
I love it.
Triangle Agency is a really fun indie TTRPG about, it's basically Candela but like silly. So I don't know if any of you have played the game Control. Control is really cool. It's just a bunch of different like artifacts that do wacky stuff, but it's a more serious type of thing with some jokes in there. Triangle Agency throws all the seriousness out, and you are just playing the wackiest stuff ever. I'm playing an eldritch horror that was shot into a human-sized thing, this meat puppet, and like is just absolutely new to everything, doesn't understand what's going on, has like a little notebook that writes down like certain phrases. The entire last time that we played, I was holding a hand out onto somebody's shoulder because it comforted them, right? And just left it there until they told me otherwise. That was it. So like me, Jonny, I had my arm out for pretty much half, if not more, of the stream. And my shoulders the next day were so sore. And then I did it with this side to another person. And just because I'm a masochist or whatever, I did it again to somebody else. It was hilarious. But
love it.
I did it. That was,
And is Mika running that?
that is just a fun game. Mika is running that one. It's on my channel actually, and we're gonna be playing tomorrow, which is like the reason why I said that.
Sweet.
But yeah, Triangle Agency is super great. I'm also playing in a Candela game where I actually get to play, and that's really fun. It's on Twisted Fates. Yeah, Twisted _ Fates _ on Twitch. Northwolf911 is the username. He is running this Candela game about what is real and what is fake, and trying to discern what's going on in this whole thing. It's a lot of fun. I'm playing with Janelle as well, Boss Jellybean, and our characters have had this like this relationship that pretty much had an explosive end, and now it's like kind of, yeah, it's good.
Oh, we got some drama. I like it.
Yeah, some drama for sure. I run Ravenloft Misfits, so that's every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And then also next Tuesday, I am running a one-shot, a Candela one-shot on TTN, Tabletop Tail Spinners Network. I'm going to be running it there. The theme of it, I asked my players last week, I think, during our session 0, what theme they wanted to play with, and they said identity. Ooh. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. I have already created a whole world of just, I need a corkboard for all of the lines that I'm drawing together. It's great. Like you said, I like to make the complex stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But yeah, those 3 things are what I'm mainly doing this month. And then, you know, Daggerheart, I'm going to be trying to run more of, but at a slower pace than I have been doing the past few months. So that'll probably be like maybe one in June or something like that. But yeah. And then random TikTok videos of how to play and YouTube videos and all of that.
Yeah. If you need to know anything about the games at all, if it's not there, it will be. So just go follow.
Right.
Jordan, before you answer that too, I just thought of I wanted to talk about a little bit about, because this kind of applies to anyone that you're following. And so if you're following a creator of any kind, what is it that is the best thing for people to do to help support a channel? So like a YouTube channel and a Twitch channel and that kind of thing. I know that there are certain markers, like you're doing this, you're not getting paid to do this right now, but you know, eventually you would like to maybe get some marketing and stuff like that to help, you know, kind of cover some cost of, you know, maybe getting some new stuff or whatever. What is it that people can do that really actually makes a difference?
So for YouTube, subscribing, getting a content creator to 1,000 subs is like the biggest. Now I can well, there's two things. One is how many hours your videos have been watched in the last year. The first milestone is 3,000. The second milestone is 5,000 hours, which I am actually really close to somehow. Wild. But the next thing is getting them to 1,000 subs. So those two things, once those are both met, they can then move into that full partnership program where they start getting money for ads that run on their page and whatever. I already have ads that are running on my Candela content, which I get none of. So I think that's a little whatever.
Yeah.
YouTube, it's a thing. But currently I'm able to do like, there's like super subscriptions and stuff like that. I'm not really worried about that kind of stuff because I don't really have content that can go into that stuff anyways. The best way, which is also free, which is why it's the best way, is sharing it across social media, leaving a like because that helps with algorithm stuff, leaving a comment because that also helps. And then, yeah, like I said, subscriptions also super easy, free. Yeah, but realistically, it's the liking, it's the commenting, it's the reposting, it's the subscribing, and then sharing with people. Those are like 5 free things that you can do. And I mean, maybe a comment takes a minute or so. Great video, like that's it.
Right.
And then sharing with people is like the really big one, because then those people take your recommendation and then start watching your videos, and then they can do the same thing, and just trickles down from there. But yeah, those are like the main things, and they're all free, so that's why they're the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Jordan, what do you have coming up? I know you're going to be at some conventions and you got some things happening, right?
Things. Well, I thought we have the talks. I have a lot of. What's tricky is that I have a lot of like markets and stuff, but like you're not in Maine.
Maybe there's somebody in Maine
Right.
watching. Tell them where they can find you.
Okay, if you're in Maine, I mean, this weekend I'm gonna be at Music and Arts Festival, selling games and stuff at Casco Bay High School. They invited me to do that. I also play clarinet and stuff, so I play in a swing band.
Oh, cool.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
every Wednesday. Yeah, so I play that and stuff. We have people dancing. It's a lot of fun.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, just like that. No, they do the whole thing.
I know. I was just kidding. It was just cute. You had to do it with
the. We were supposed to play the Goosepoop version on the Even Footing Games channel.
Nice.
But everybody got sick yesterday.
Everybody got goop.
No.
Everybody got the goop.
We should cancel this because this is just kind of sad.
Yeah.
But everybody's super excited, so it's tricky. Yeah, but so stay tuned on that. Hopefully we'll find like an actual day to get things done. Let me check my calendar. I don't do like a terrible amount of stream stuff. I'm more on the making the games side.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and I know that there's some people that are playing the games too. So, do you have a link that you usually put stuff, like how do people know where to see like the games in progress or anything like that? Or if I'm putting you on the spot, you can just tell me to stop asking you questions. It's okay.
No, it's great. Here, you can. I mean, it's all on this link tree. But goosepoopgames.com is always great. What I would love is to get new newsletters. I have a newsletter. I just posted it yesterday, but just update people on what's happening. Summer's kicked in, so I mean, it's my life is markets. Is just going to markets every Saturday morning. I'm up at like 5 a.m. at the farmers market, hashing out
Nope.
games.
I'm out.
It's what you do. It's what you gotta do. And then the day before, you stay up until like midnight at the art walk doing games like that, and that's the life. Um, but yeah, that or just I've been seeing like some good friends who've played Good Soup tag me and like suggest Good Soup to other people on threads, and I love that. That's just really great. Um, Looking to do more collabby stuff, so if people want to collab on things, that's always great. I love connecting with people.
Collab
I'm
is
just trying
awesome.
to see. Collab is awesome. I'm doing sexy battle wizards with even
Why didn't you
footing
lead with
games.
that?
Yeah, you know. Oh, you know the sexy battle wizards.
Duh.
Duh.
I mean,
It's a Grant Howitt game. If you don't know, it's a one-pager. We love Grant Howitt stuff. Yeah, like Honey Heist, if you've heard of Honey Heist or something like that.
Yeah.
Sexy battle
so I could
wizards.
play Honey Heist or Sexy Battle Wizards? I mean,
Yeah.
what?
No
That's not even a
competition.
question.
Yeah. Wednesday next, the 15th, I'll be playing
Cool.
and stuff, so that'll be fun. And then yeah, we have the creator coop, which I'm excited to chat about games. I love talking about making games.
Yeah,
That
Goosepoop's great.
is May 21st
It
at
is,
8
and that will be
on this game.
monthly until we stop doing it. I don't know. We don't, it
Yeah.
could be 6. It could be 600. We don't know. We're just gonna we're just gonna see where it goes. We've got a rough outline of 6 that takes you kind of from concept to completion, and then we'll dive in deeper after that. Maybe, we don't know. We'll kind of just see how it goes. Yeah, we're just gonna roll with it too. So the mod for our channel is not with us today, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so I cannot fix it. But your links are not showing up in the chat. So I got goosepoopgames.com in there. Johnny, what link do you want people to have there?
I have it. It is Linktree. It's linktr.ee/TalkingXP. I put it in the chat so everybody can see it. Oh, I guess not.
It's just
Maybe not.
stars.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Cool.
It's just stars, and I don't know how to fix that. Joe, I miss you, Joe.
That's all right.
I appreciate you. You know, sometimes Joe has to not show up so that I can just appreciate him even more than I already do.
Right? Yeah. Just a important distinction for Goosepoop Games, because I just tried to click on Goosepoop Games, just that. It is HTTP, no S, just so everybody knows. Because if you click goosepoopgames.com, takes a while. That's how my website is as well. Just because it's not a secure website, that it
it redirects.
It makes it a whole thing.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
I'll hook you guys up
That's
afterwards. You can do that. You can do that very cheaply. So I'll send you links.
Nice.
Cool.
Incredible.
All right. Do either of you have anything you want to add before we close it out? Do you have anything that you want to shout out or a question or anything like that? I think we covered quite a bit.
I just love the talk. We talked about some really great things. Yeah, this is a great talk.
Look, you know, I could do this all day long, and I want to. This is my thing. I want to do panels now, all the time.
Yeah, I could totally do this. I shouldn't totally do this all day. That's just I need to go eat here soon. It's 6:30 over at my time.
Yeah. Well, we started.
I will say, I'm going to Gen Con, so if anybody sees me there, please come to me. I remember when I first went there, I was just like, I don't know if they want to say hi to me. I would love to say hi to anybody that is there. So just throwing that out there. If you see me, come to me and say, "Hey, what's up?" And that's it.
I'm thinking about
Just
going.
gonna go say, "Hey,
so
what's up?" and then turn to
need,
go.
I need pro tips.
It's a lot of fun, and you get to meet a bunch of people, and it sounds like a lot of Threads folks are going to be going. If you have the money to do so, I would recommend it because it's a lot of fun to actually like face-to-face meet people. If you
Yeah.
don't, there is no pressure. I know the FOMO is real. I get that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just
I'll leave it at that.
Do it if you can. Do it if you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we appreciate you hanging out and chilling with us. And this VOD will be up on YouTube as well, and I'll have all the links and everything in there so that you can find all the things that Johnny's mentioned earlier and that Jordan mentioned, and all the links to go get you some wholesome good soup because you need it, and that Candela thing is out right now as well, and it's amazing, so you should do that. But yeah, we super appreciate you for hanging out. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.